Thanks for joining us here today. I think a very appropriate time together, and it's an honor to be here today with a group of public servants who are devoting their lives to making Texas a better place to live and work. Everyone here understands the importance of a strong economy. It means jobs that enable Texans to earn a living, feed their families, enjoy the quality of life that we have here in this state. They also understand that energy is an essential component to our state's economic success. It's not just that we lead the nation in producing and refining petrochemical products, but it's also extremely important to the economy of the state. Energy, it's the fuel in the tractors of our farm land. It's the electricity that's powering a web hosting company in Dallas. It's the diesel that's being consumed by a trucker getting a shipment from El Paso to Beaumont. Energy costs are built into everything that we buy, that we sell, that we use. So we're wise to keep an eye on those things that increase those costs. At a time when nationwide unemployment is pushing double digits, families all across the country and our state are dealing with the loss of a paycheck, we need to be looking at ways to hold down the cost of living, not increase it. 3 months ago, the U.S. House of Representatives passed the Waxman-Markey cap and trade energy bill by a very narrow vote of 219 to 212. If the United States Senate were to take leave of its senses and pass this bill, it would precipitate an economic disaster in Texas, making our state less secure, hindering the ability to be competing with the rest of the world. Today you'll be hearing from folks who have run the numbers on this legislative monstrosity, and the news is not good. This misguided piece of legislation would essentially be the single largest tax increase in American history. Open the door to an unprecedented federal intrusion into every farm, every home, every workplace in the state. These energy taxes will cause every product that uses energy to become more expensive, forcing hard-working Texans to bear substantial new costs and kicking a hole in our state's economic strength. Shackling our economy with a crushing burden of new regulation will also place our whole country at an unfair advantage to other countries like China, India, who have absolutely no intention of foregoing economic growth and prosperity in exchange for no benefit. In July of last year, the Governor's Competitiveness Council issued the State Energy Plan. It contained warnings about the looming threat of increased federal intrusion on Texas businesses and families. In response, I asked the leaders of the three key state agencies overseeing our energy industry to come up with a strategy to help stop an activist EPA and keep a close eye on what the U.S. Congress might do to Texas. Chairman Brian Shaw at the PUC, Commissioner Michael Williams at the Railroad Commission, Barry Smithman over at the PUC. They all got to work on this issue in December of 2008. With the help of Comptroller Combs and the dedicated staff of all of their agencies, they carefully analyzed the impact of these regulations and proposed legislation on Texas. And I want to say thank you to each of you for the work that you've done. This is a very historic joint meeting today. I look forward to hearing your conclusions on the research that you and others have done as we handle, or as I should say, we get a handle on this impending meteor strike on the Texas economy, otherwise known as the Pelosi Waxman-Markey legislation. Every Texan should take the time to study these conclusions and then plot their own response. I think they should take time to contact their elected officials, share with them their concerns. The studies clearly illustrate what the federal government still refuses to openly admit, that the proposed changes will be devastating to normal Texans who simply want to do an honest day's work and take care of their families. For example, Texans who drive to work, to class, a football game, they will see a 41% increase in the cost of gasoline. Those same Texans will pay more for food, since Texas farmers and ranchers will face higher costs of fertilizer, fuel that's needed for their crops, the feed for their livestock. I know Todd's going to speak here in a few minutes, and I suspect he will drill down into those issues. As a matter of fact, a study at Texas A&M suggests that virtually all Texas ranches and farmers will be negatively impacted by the bill, some to the point of losing the family farm. According to the comptroller, this legislation would immediately increase the cost of household goods for Texas families an additional $1,200 per year. Whether you use electricity to cool your home or power your factory, electricity costs, in the President's own words, will necessarily skyrocket by as much as $650 per year as soon as 2013. If Texans are spending all their money on higher energy costs, how are parents going to save for their children's education, invest in a home, care for elderly parents? As energy prices go up, we also see job losses in our state's energy and manufacturing sectors. Between 200,000 and 300,000 Texans who today work to supply the rest of America with energy would find themselves out of work. There would then be a resulting ripple effect as more stringent regulations and higher energy costs cause Texas businesses to close their doors, either for good or to leave this country. Any hope we had of achieving energy independence would also be lost in the avalanche of higher taxes and new regulations, making it more expensive to produce oil, natural gas, gasoline in this state, raising the cost to manufacture the next generation of energy technologies. But make no mistake, even if the U.S. Senate walks away from the job-killing Waxman-Markey Pelosi bill, it is also increasingly clear that the new administration is on a pace to enact even worse legislation. The Environmental Protection Agency has made it clear that if Congress fails to pass a bill, its group of unelected federal bureaucrats will take matters into their own hands and declare carbon dioxide a harmful substance. If the imposition of these massive costs and burdens on Texas would produce some measurable benefit, I'd be open to a conversation. However, the EPA administrator has admitted to Congress that this legislative monstrosity would have virtually no impact on global CO2 levels or temperature, but still they press on. Texas has shown that you don't need the federal government to intrude on individual rights and freedoms to foster the next generation of energy technology, while, I might add, Ken, improving our environment in ways that positively impact our cleanliness and public health. Through the use of incentives, we have expanded the use of renewable energy, leading all other states and most other countries, I might add, in the amount of wind power that we've installed. We have dramatically improved the air quality in our major municipalities, with statewide ozone levels decreasing 22% from 2000 to 2008. We have reduced nitrous oxide emissions from large industrial sources by 46% from 2000 to 2006, and we've still attracted new jobs in the process. Over the past decade, Texas has largely outperformed the national economy while increasing our population by roughly 1,000 individuals every day. We have shunned the sweeping mandates and draconian regulation, and we've embraced innovation and incentives to bring about these positive changes. This is the right approach, and we're calling on Washington to do the same. I encourage all Texans to join me and to continue making their voices be heard by objecting to this job-killing new energy tax on Texans. And I might add the possibility of increasingly activist EPA that's imposing or talking about imposing massive new restrictions by fiat. So let me wrap up by saying let's keep Texas working, and working as well to fight to preserve our climate of job creation and sensible regulation that we have here in the state. So, Victor, thank you for your leadership and for heading this panel up today, and to all of you for being here today. God bless you, and through you, may He continue to bless the great state of Texas.